Welcome to the Global Indian Podcast, the world's greatest journey and the official platform for people of Indian origin. Because let's face it, we are everywhere. Welcome back to the voyage. This is a quick introduction to Season 2 and what's in store. I've often been asked since we kicked this off 10 weeks ago, which feels like a day and an age, especially in terms of COVID, on actually why. What was our purpose for doing this? And what is it that we wanted to achieve? And I suppose it came out from the fact that, as you know, my own story, I travel. I'm an explorer. For over a decade, I've traveled to the world, piecing together this kaleidoscope that I found and still find incredibly fascinating. People of Indian origin. And along those travels, I've been held hostage, faced Ebola, I've met incredibly remarkable individuals, and in the destinations that none of us really recognize as being places of people like us. And during the course of the season, and during the course of my work that was featured in the Indian Express or along the different platforms, it has always been to plunge into the human experience. It goes beyond our notions of celebrity status and says, well, what's it like to be you? Why are you there? How are you there? And what are the challenges that you face? It's more of this curiosity that I think anybody would have that would travel to a newfound land. And so the reason why we kicked up the podcast was for a simple fact of there's Corona, I can't travel out there. So armed with my computer, my questionable microphone at times, and my phone with my contacts from around the globe, people that I know, met and dear friends with. Well, what's possible? And can we start a movement that looks beyond this perceived notion of Indianness to the vice of India? Or a collective view that only some recognize and want to feel that they are custodians of? How can we create a platform that really does delve headfirst into this and actually provides a living encyclopedia of the world's largest movement of people in terms of from one ethnicity, which is India? And that's what we did. And I was very fortunate that a lot of the people that I know, people that know me and friends of friends said, look, we'll take up the baton to call to arms and get involved in this. Season 2 is just that, but more. We really do plunge headfirst into this notion of a human experience. It's something that Govinda always speaks about to me, saying, you need to go deeper, you need to get to the grit of how these guys feel. And I'm saying, yeah, absolutely right. We need to do that. So armed with a great group of people around me, we've got our global Indian ambassadors now around the world. We've got our co-host for some of the episodes that you hear here with Rajesh Gopi, who was a participant in our last podcast in South Africa. We're now taking a real deep dive into this notion of identity and the winding road that surrounds it. The conversations are from billionaires, but we don't talk about money. They're with celebrated Bollywood actors, but we do not talk about Bollywood or acting. They're with custodians of our protection, but we do not talk about their uniforms. The common denominator along all the journeys is about what is this Indianness. You may have seen the clips on social media. We've had people like Ella Gandhi on, the granddaughter of Mahatma Gandhi, but in her own way, actually a prolific activist who's gone far beyond the notion that most people recognize or known about. And here we get to fan the flames of positive publicity on that. We've had conversation with Sam Ali in Pakistan. Again, he's a celebrated actor, but we don't talk about acting. We talk about a craft, and we have a look at the notion of identity. What does it mean, the changing shifts of that? And it really is a second look into this. We've got conversations, again, from the Caribbean, from cricket, relating all the way down to the entrepreneurs that came from Kenya and the power of a mother and what Indianness represents there. These truly are remarkable conversations, and I believe that they're going to have an incredible impact on you as an audience, whether you are sitting in Fiji or whether you are sitting in Bahamas. these conversations cut across the whole wave of our mutual experience and understandings. And it's a real privilege to do. So without further ado, hopefully your appetite further. This season is an incredibly strong season. COVID is still here. We've seen the rise of riots, unfortunately. We've seen the rise of protests. And now we get to delve into everything in between those, the different echelons, the different shades, the different angles that surround some of these big issues. But we get to have a look at a vise of it through our own unique understanding of a collection of people of origins that are similar, of the similar land, and to experience what that truly means. Because the question that I've always posed, and you hear it in our Malaysian podcast, is if India means something to us, do we really feel like we mean anything to India? But let's go beyond that. Do we mean anything to each other as people of Indian origin, or does it just stop at the flag raising ceremonies and the hidden showcase of great, yep, we see each other at weddings and we recognize each other? Does it go beyond that? Are we prepared to shed our own sense of identity to take that further and have a look at the vise of people like us in different countries around the world? And by doing so, do we enable ourselves to educate ourselves even further about what this human condition is? And do we enable ourselves to actually question what culture is and what that means to us, and the role of women or the role of children or the role of our elders? This season, I think, in all fairness, is going to leave you with more questions than answers, but in a very powerful way. Until we speak next week when we kick this off, I hope all remains well. If you would like to reach out and get involved with the Global Indian series or the Global Indian podcast, follow us on social media. The best mediums are Instagram, you can follow us at the Nazrans, or on YouTube if you type in the Global Indian series. Email us through with your suggestions, listen to the podcast so far, because ultimately you are part and parcel of this. Take care, stay safe. This is going to be an absolute cracker.